All right, good morning, everyone. Just want to share with you on today's report writing. I know the Muet exam is just around the corner. By end of this month, around 30th of January 2021. So anyway, I'm just going to share with you a few tips. Probably will be able to help you on your coming exam. So I wish all the best for all of you. So anyway, so I'm just going to use my highlighter here. So what you're going to see here, now the first thing that you need to do, that you need to look at the question here. This is question 1 here. So I'm using my stylus pad. And okay, let's look at the question here. A study was carried out to compare the student enrollment of 4 universities in 2015. So I try to zoom in so that you can see clearer. Now, using only the information provided, analyze the information given. In your answers, you are to link the information presented in the visuals. So you should write about 150 to 200 words. Now, just to remind all of you, the examiners will count the number of words beforehand. And after that, only then they will mark your report. So just look here. This is okay, so this is the first visual. If you look here, and this is the second visual. Okay, very clear, straightforward. Now I call it visuals like in general, but if you look at visual 1, it is labeled as figure 1, and the second visual as table 1. Okay, so anyway, no worry. Now you need to understand, because you don't have much time. You have about 40 minutes to do this particular task on question 1, so you don't have much time. But anyway, you need to pay attention on few details. So the first one is, this is my first visual, and then you can use your highlighter if you have, I mean during the exam. So you need to highlight so that you pay more attention on the details. Okay, so and after that you need to know this is the label. Look at the label here, and then this is the label. This is all the important key features that you need to understand. All right, so 10%, 90%, 35%, 65%, 65, 35, 90%, 10%. Anyway, just look at this data here. It's very important. Later on I'll explain further. Yeah, so these are the factors, and these are the name of the 4 universities. It's very straightforward. A, B, C, D. So these are the factors here: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and these are the number of factors that influence the student enrollment. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can okay, so just change the, okay, maybe I just put it down here 4, and then 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, and then this one here 1, 2, 3. So depending, yeah. Now the first thing that you need to do, if you look at the topic here, I always remind the students to come up with this TIOPC. TIOPC means title. Okay, so this is the title here. TI, this is I, and O is overview, and then P is the point, and after that C is the conclusion. Okay, so let's use the highlighter once again. Now, very straightforward. When you look at the topic here, the student enrollment of 4 universities in 2015. So just use different color for the time being, so that easier for you to see. Let me just remove this part here. Okay, now student enrollment of 4 universities in 2015. So I just extract directly from this figure 1. So what I do, I just move or copy and paste over here. So that's in a way to form my topic. And the next one here is factors influencing student enrollment. All right, so this one also taken directly from here. Okay, so you see that you got your topic here. I always remind the students TIOPC. In order to get band 4, you just need to fulfill this. I mean, this is um, my when I set my requirement for my students. So, but it is in a way that you are able to perform as a band 5 or band 6 student as to fulfill all the features needed for the report. So again, for the topic, student enrollment of 4 universities in 2005, taken from the first visual, that is figure 1, and factors influencing student enrollment. Okay, very clear and very straightforward. Now let me just change another highlighter so that easier for you to see. Let's use the green color. Now, figure 1. Now, figure 1 displays the student enrollment of 4 universities in 2015. Okay, this one here. Again, this one taken from the first visual. Can you see that? While table 1 is from here. Table 1, table 1 shows the factors influencing student enrollment. Again, what I need to do is just to transfer the important details from the visuals to my report. Now, I just need you to pay attention on the word. I just try to use this one here. Now, if you notice that, hang on. Okay, I just remove here this one. Okay, I just use back the green color. Now, just to remind all of you that okay, this one here taken directly from here, and then table 1 taken directly from this one here. Okay, so hang on here. All right, now when you write your report, of course, language is very important part of the assessment. If you notice that, let me just change the color. Let's use okay rose color. Now, so this one here displays and shows. So I always remind the students try not to repeat the same word. So for example, like figure 1 displays, and after that you mention again display. So if you look at the textbook, there are many ways on how to introduce the report. So for figure 1 displays, table 1 shows. So try to use the textbook as your there are more reference given from the textbook. Okay. Now the student enrollment of 4 universities in 2015. Now remember that if you sort of like forget to mention the year, then it is not a good report. Some students make a mistake. They forgot to put the year. So I usually didn't tick correct for the introduction. So just bear in mind, remember that the year must be stated because clearly in the question, it mentioned the year as well. So don't forget about that one, yeah? All right. And the second part here, if you look here, the introduction, figure 1 displays the student enrollment in 4 universities in 2015, while table 1 shows the factors influence influencing student enrollment. Now, I just want to highlight this is the most important one. Maybe I try to use the yellow one, this one here. Now, I always remind my student this part here. While as to connect between two visuals, figure 1, blah, 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 while table 1. Now, a lot of students or candidates, maybe, I just put it that way, but I usually refer to my students, they always have the tendency to write and of course, I usually observe the NPM in a way, not very happy with that. just put it that way. But to be safe, I strongly recommend all of you to write down this word, to use the while to link the first visual and the second visual. Okay, so make it clear. To be safe, just don't ask so many questions why we are not allowed to use. Anyway, to be safe, just follow the procedures given by the NBM. Okay, so just use the word while, and then that's the safest one. So figure one displays blah 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 blah, while table one shows the factors blah 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 blah. So very straightforward. Now let's look at the next one here. um so let me just change the color of the highlighter. um let's use orange color. Okay, now the next one is the overview. The overview is very important. Without the overview, then the examiners wouldn't be able to know what you are going to report. Now, I always remind the students to be safe. Just the word, just use the word generally. Sometimes they use in general or overall, but just to be safe, it's just a report. So just use generally, and it's very straightforward. Now, in overview, you are supposed to report. You're supposed to come up with overview by linking two visuals. Now, if you look here, um, you notice that generally there is a correlation between the student enrollment of 4 universities in 2015. This one refers to the first visual here, which is figure one, and the factors that influence the enrollment. So you notice that this word here, the key word here, correlation. There is a correlation. So meaning that there is a link between the first visual and the second visual here. And then remember, all the important details must be included. So I can see that student enrollment of 4 universities in 2015. So do not forget very important details that you need to include in your overview, and the factors that influence the enrollment. Okay, now we already have our topic, we have our introduction and overview. So this is very clear that you have fulfilled at least three important features. So far so good. So anyway, let me just clear all this first so that it will not become a mess. All right, easier for all of you. So I just remove this first. Okay, now let's look at the next one, the body paragraph. Now this is the most important one, the point. Now for the point, I need you to pay attention more on the synthesis. Now synthesis carries more marks rather than just writing down the analysis. Now let's look at the first one here. The undergraduate enrollment of University D was the biggest among the 4 universities at 90%, as the factors influencing student enrollment were reputable academic staff, excellent facilities, and affordable fees for undergraduates. Now, if you notice that this detail here, let me just, okay, this one here, until this part here, okay. Now, this part shows that there are two, this one here, let me just highlight so that you're not confused with the other part. Okay, easier. Okay, hang on, easier for you to see. Okay, oh, until here, hang on, this one here. All right, now the undergraduate enrollment of university was the biggest. Now this is the key feature. So I know that I mentioned the university D, Now, if you forget the name of the university, then you get zeros right away. I mean, very easy. You have not fulfilled the task. So this is the trend word, the biggest. And then we have our data here. This is the data, okay, 90%. So if you look at this part here, this is in a way, um, the data here shows um, 1A. Okay, so 1A means one analysis, which is correct. If you The undergraduate enrollment of University was the biggest among the four universities at 90%. So this is very straightforward, and let me just clear all this so that you're not confused. Now, the second part is the report shows that you need to synthesize. So as to interlink, maybe let me just use other colors first. Now, just for example, as as the factors. So this part here, sometimes you look at the later stage, there are different ways to link between the two visual, the first one and the second one. So for this one, the writer decided to use the word as, instead of using is probably due or most probably because. So this is very simple, very straightforward. The writer just in a way use the word as to interlink, as to link between the two visuals. Okay, but anyway, as long it is link, it is fine, but just make sure that you got it right. Now the second part here, the factors influencing student enrollment were reputable academic staff, excellent facilities, and affordable fees for undergraduates. Now the second part I consider from here is also 1A, one analysis. Okay, 1A. Now, because factors influencing student enrollment were reputable academic staff, consider this as one word. Look at the single inverted comma. Okay, we consider that as one word. Excellent facilities, one word. Affordable fees for undergraduates, also considered as one word. Just pay attention on this single inverted commas. So you must remember that you need to write between 150 to 200 words. So the number of words are very important. So you try to save as much as you can, because a lot of students have the tendency to write more than 200 words. Then after that, you lose all the marks. So, okay. Now, I consider the second part as another 1A. Now, because the first part already mentioned University D, so you do not need to write again University D. I straight away know that your second part of the sentence, this one here, this one, thank God, this one here, this is the second part of from the second visual. I consider this as, okay, as another 1A. Okay, okay, so this part here is also 1A, and I know that this is also another 1A. Do I have to mention again the name of the university? I don't have to. So I know that the second part is still referring to the same key feature, which is University D. So that's why you have 1A, 1A, and then after that, because you have sort of like link these two important details, so you get 1S, 1S. Okay, so the first part is done, very straightforward. So maybe I just write it down here, 1A, 1A, 1S. Okay, so let me just clear up on this one here. Okay, let's move on to the second part. Now the second part here, let's use again the highlighter. Okay, let's look at the first part of the analysis. Postgraduate. Now this one referred to postgraduate, not undergraduate. Yeah, like just now it was referring to the undergraduate. So another important key features. Postgraduate in university was the smallest at 10%. Very straightforward. You get another 1A. 1A. So I just put here 1A. And then let's look at the second analysis. The university did not have scholarship for postgraduates, teaching assistant a teaching assistant scheme for postgraduates and conducive learning environment. Now, if you notice that I decided to put the single inverted comma once again as to reduce the number of words. Now, again, even though it was not mentioned about the two important key features, the postgraduate and university D, but I know the fact that the second part refers to the same key features. So I actually have another 1A. Interesting, isn't it? So now I know that these details were important uh, to link because I mentioned just now a while ago that there are many ways to write or to synthesize. Please check your textbook. If you do not have textbook, maybe you can borrow from your friends or from your other peers. All right. Now, because I use the word because, and I know that you are able to synthesize or to link between the two important visuals. So with that, you get another 1S. Wow. So in a way you have fulfilled. So I put the another one here, 1A, 1A, 1S. All right. So let me just clear up on this one here. So remember, pay attention clearly on the details from this report question. Now let's move on to the second and the third part. Okay, so let me just use back the yellow highlight. Okay, now postgraduate are my key features, and this is my next key feature in the CB. My trend word, second highest, my data here. Okay, that's the first part here. And let's look at the second visual. The second visual again mentioned about these are the factors, all right? And I put the single inverted comma again just to remind all of you to save the number of words. Okay, and then did I notice any of the linking word? Yes, it is, and this is the linking word. And so I got 1A, 1A, this one here, you'll see B, second highest, 65%. That is taken directly from figure 1, the first visual. Another 1A, these are the three factors. Do I have to mention again the name of university? I do not have to because it was already mentioned in the first part, which is University B. So again, that's another 1A. And because I use the connecting words, the linking words, most probably because, and I have fulfilled correctly on the details. Just bear in mind, I always remind my students, the moment that you got it wrong, for your second analysis, I consider the whole thing as zero. So you have not fulfilled the task correctly. I mean, that is always my style. So I always remind my students, you cannot afford to make any mistakes when it comes to reporting. So anyway, most probably because, and you have fulfilled correctly on two parts, the 1A, 1A, so you get another 1S. All right, so I just put it here, 1A, 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 1S. So very straightforward. So far so good. So let's move on to the next one. Now, in the next one, let me just change the color of the highlighter. Now, sometimes we know the fact that the year has already mentioned from the topic, and also in the introduction and also overview. Or you may not, but it's up to you. So anyway, I mentioned it here, but for this report, it's clearly stated 2015, so do not worry so much about if you forget to mention the year in this report, because there's only one particular year, so it's already reported in your topic and also your introduction and overview. Now let's continue, yeah? Now let's look at the key features. Okay, postgraduates, University A. So what's the trend word? The highest at 90%. Okay, so that's the first part. And let's look at the second part. Had the most number of factors for that influence its enrollment, which are reputable, blah blah blah. This one, this one. So I try to count just to ensure that there are four factors. There are four factors here. So, and did I see any linking word? This is the linking word, probably because now from my analysis, it shows that the writer managed to write correctly on the first analysis. I mentioned the year and then the key features. These are the two key features and the trend word and with the data as well. Now, if you forget to write down the data, then that's it. I just consider that as a zero. So anyway, this is 1A, and then university had the most number of factors, 4. Now there are some students, they just write the number of factors and they do not mention the name of the written factors there. The These are the factors mentioned in the table 1. So I strongly recommend all of you, um, you are strongly recommended to write down once again what are those factors that influence the enrollment. So we have another 1A here and then 1S. So far so good. So probably because this is the most important keyword. Now looking uh, at several parts around here, the writer, they use different ways on how to interlink, hang on, interlink the two visuals. So just to give you the idea of why it is important to diversify in writing your report. Okay, so this is just some example here, and then just to give you idea that you do not have to repeat the same phrase in every part of your report. So just bear in mind on that. Okay, now I have 1A, 1A, 1S. So can I just put it somewhere here first? Maybe this one. 1A, 1A, 1S. Okay, so easier for me to remember. Okay, so this part is done for the analysis. Now let's continue. Now the writer decided to reverse the technique. So can I just use the yellow highlight once again? Okay. Now with okay, this one is without the single inverted commas, but no worries. So this is my key feature here, and this is my trend word and my data as well. Um, Now looking at this is the reverse technique or the reverse by reversing the phrase. So usually we have the first part taken from the first visual, and after that we link with the second visual. But this is the other way around. There's nothing wrong with that. But again, you just have to prove that the analysis and the synthesis is correct. Okay, so as long as my key features, I know that this is undergrads, this is university C, and this is my trend word, second highest. I have my data here. So let's put here as 1A. Okay, I have 1A. I know again my key features, undergrads and university C. So I refer to my second visual, the three important factors also mentioned here. So in a way that probably the second highest because of this. So this is another technique. So uh, sometimes the students they just use this. Of course, you didn't see the word like most probably because or is due because is due to. There are many ways, yeah, many ways to write the synthesis. So it is correct 1A 1A. So now I have another 1A 1A 1S. Okay, so I just put down here so that easier for me to refer. 1A 1A 1S 1A 1A 1S. Wow, that's a lot. Okay, so done with this part here. Amazing. Now let's look at the last um, details. Now University A, that's my key features, was the only university that the only university that offered teaching assistant scheme for postgraduates compared to other university. So University A says teaching assistant scheme. This one here, this is the only one, right? Um, so that you're not confused, I just remove all this highlight, okay, so that you know what's important for the details. Okay. Now, University A. This is University A, the only university. Now, do you see any sentences here? It was not mentioning anything about the enrollment, so I consider this just as 1S, 1A, 1A. Okay, so the only university that so mentioned directly referring to table 1 from this part. So it's okay. So I have 1A. So just to count how many A's and how many S we have. Okay, so just put here. Hang on. Can I just use a different color? Perhaps. Mm, maybe use red color. So I have how many A? How many A's do I have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I have 11 analysis. How many S do I have here? 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So S I have 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 analysis, 5 synthesis. So okay, so I have 11 analysis and 5 synthesis. Okay, now the last part you need to remember is your conclusion. Now the conclusion also link to the overview. Now let me just use my highlighter once again, and I'll just remove this part here. Okay, so that you're not confused. Okay. Now, in conclusion, the student enrollment of 4 universities in 2015. So again, I mentioned the important details, and again, if I look at the overview, I refer to this one here, refer to the first visual and corresponded to the factors that influence student enrollment. Just to remind all of you, some candidates sometimes they put down again the facts, the statistics. You do not have to. This is just conclusion. Okay. Now let's look at our overview. Yeah. Now in the overview, I use the word correlation. Um, let's just change the color. Um, let's use green color. So in the overview, there's only correlation. So this one is correspondent. So you see that I didn't copy paste the overview and put it in conclusion, but the meaning it is still the same. So that is the most important one. Now, student enrollment of four universities in 2015 and factors that influence the enrollment. So I have these two important details, also in a way of referring to the report. So the first visual and the second visual. And with this, you will be able to score band 5 because if you get four synthesis, usually you will get high band 4. Now I have more than 4, and I would say that you are able to score band 5. So once again, just to remind all of you, in order to score well in your report, um, pay attention on the language as well. And this sample here, I will show it to you and share with all of you. And because this is the final year for our Muet report format, and the next exam we will have new format. So surely we'll miss this report. Usually, this is considered pretty tough report writing technique and also questions. So it's not easy to score, but I salute those candidates who are able to write well in this report writing. So I will send this sample of PDF to all of you, especially teachers. I hope the information that I um, shared a while ago will be able to help you in your upcoming exam. So just bear in mind, it's not easy, but you need to do your very best. Okay, so just go through the report once again, read up, and then there are more samples. All right, so I think that's all for the first part, and I try to find more time to come up with another analysis and synthesis. All right, thank you, teachers.